Hello everyone, Andre here with the Wings Mobile Detailing Podcast. Today the topic is business, particularly after the 10X Growth Conference that was held in Miami from Cardone. If you went to that conference event, if you're a business owner and after you got back, the most thing that you acquired from that conference was changing your mentality of thinking bigger and changing your action plan. Maybe you got back all motivated that you want to realize that you can do bigger things, you can think big, and therefore you can change some of the actions on your day-to-day basis. You can adjust to that. But also you have to be careful, because what that can lead you is to lack of patience in thinking that perhaps now you can invest big on your business. Obviously you want to take 10x actions, but you have to be careful that you don't take that the wrong way and thinking that now I'm going to invest in this, now I'm going to do that, and you lose your patience. And if you do lose your patience when you're in business, do everything and when 1 month you just wanted to from going with your type of plan that was working, maybe growing exponentially or growing with security, to now after the conference you got back all motivated and then you want to decide to spend more money to marketing, more money to this, put more of your actions here and start growing bigger without the patience that you once had before. That can lead you into a catastrophic failure. So you have to be careful what 10x really means. It doesn't mean for you to come back and start, spending all this money where you weren't spending before and thinking that, everything, that's how it's supposed to be done. No, patience is also a key thing. And I'm not saying not take 10x actions, and I'm not explaining what 10x really means. If you're thinking, if that's your mentality now, after you got back, say, I want to think bigger, awesome. But now you got back and decided to spend all the money back into your business all of the sudden. Just be careful with that. Stay with that intro.
Welcome to the Wings Mobile Detailing Business and Automotive Podcast, the only podcast that will guide you on how to start and grow six-figure companies. As our team expand from one business location to worldwide domination, you will get step-by-step insights from a millennial franchisor and franchise owner with your host, Andre Mezalira.
Guys, I know that a lot of people who've been part of the 10X conference or perhaps any other business conference, and maybe you are there and you see all those big guys, big successful guys who say, for you to be successful, you have to do this. You have to have communication for you to be successful, or you have to have the other things, and you think you personally think that you're not doing enough then, that you are not taking too much of risky actions. You're not taking too much risks. And that can be a problem, guys, because it may seem like all those guys that were successful, when you start, watching them, seeing their speeches and seeing how, Tom Hilfiger, for example, that was there in the conference, he was explaining how he was growing the business. It seemed like everything was done in a month, because he's talking about it. He's telling his story. It seems like, it took only a year and then he was growing super fast. But no, he also went through struggle. He also went through doubts, just like you were going through, I'm sure. Doubts that you're perhaps not doing enough. You're not doing what you're supposed to compared to those guys. And that doubt is important because it makes you improve. It makes you want to do better things. And it makes you definitely want to improve, So that is a good thing. What is not good about it is when you take that doubt and you want to put the carriage in front of the horse. And then it leads to a huge bubble. And obviously, guys, I'm going to explain what 10X means. But first, try to restore your confidence in what you're already doing. Have your feet on the ground. No, I'm not saying have your feet on the ground by you walking slow. No, I'm saying have your feet on the ground by understanding that, no, you don't have to stop investing where you're investing in on your business and then start using your time, which is money, and start to learn how to be a better communicator. If all the other things, obviously you want to be good in everything, but because you heard that from the guys, you have to be a communicator to be successful. Not really. Like Elon Musk, for example, he sucks at speaking. And the conference, for example, they were saying, and I'm not going to criticize everything they said. I'm sure it's awesome. What do I know? But there's not one thing that will make you successful, and you don't have to do exactly. Remember, I think it was Pete at the conference who was saying, don't try to be like a Grant Cardone. Don't try to be like this guy. Be yourself. And I agree with that so much, because by being yourself, maybe you're not a great communicator and you want to improve on that. Great. But don't think that because that guy is, that's the only way for you to be successful. Elon Musk is not a great communicator, and he's, really successful as far as financially speaking and the size of the company that he has. Among many other people, that were not a great communicator, but had a great product. Or some other people didn't have that great of a product and was a great communicator and they still succeed. So be your own self. Don't try to get back and apply the 10x action the wrong way. 10x actions means that in practicality, this is what it means. You're going to get back home and let's say you have calls to make to a client, or you want to cold call dealerships. And your plan for that day was to cold call 20 dealerships. 10x actions mean you're going to call 10 times that, Okay, I'm going to call 20 dealerships now, but I want to take 10x action. So instead of calling 20, I'm going to call 10x 10 times more. And then what is it going to happen? You're going to get 10x results, And same apply with the 10x actions for when you are writing your goals down. If you write that you wanted $3 million a year, write 10x that. Write 10 times more that. And then when you do take the action under the 10x mantra, you want to take the 10x action this way. You are cold calling, you are posting on social media. If you post once, you post 10 times more. If you post once a week, 10x that. So this is really what 10x means. And when you start taking 10x actions, you're going to realize that you had more time than you thought you had. You wouldn't be able to take 100x action because then you run out of time. But if you take 10 times the action that you were taking, you're going to create time in the day, because before you used to use those times to, every 5 minutes, every hour, every 2 hours, perhaps you'll take a little bit of a break. And you taking 10x actions, you would compress the time and take 10x. And 10x does not mean that, now I have to be spending all this money. I have this amount of money, but I'm going to invest everything. Let's say you have $20,000 in your account, in your business account, for example. Let's, think little here. Not think little. Let's just say $20,000 in your account. And then you get back all excited from the conference and you want to spend all this money on the business back because you're all excited and you see all those guys spending money and promoting, and you want to do the same. And then you go and you start doing Facebook ads because you heard somebody saying the Facebook ads is great. Or you had just a new idea while you were there and you just want to spend money because you think it's the right thing to do. That's when it becomes dangerous, guys. And for all those people that were there, all those speakers, they each one of them had about 30 minutes to an hour to up to 2 hours, I think, of that they were speaking for 2 hours, and they were compressing all their lifelong success, all their struggle into a 2-hour speech, gravitating on the positive sides, nothing about negatives. But trust me, all of them went through doubt. All of them have to go step by step, taking a lot of 10x actions, yes. But they had to go step by step. They didn't go one day they got motivated and excited and think that, I'm doing something wrong here. Now I'm going to start spending all this money here. Maybe they did, and they made the mistake and learned because the bubble was created and it exploded. and they started from the bottom. I'm sure they did. I'm sure everybody failed. But you want to avoid the failures, guys. And what we heard was success stories. The problem with hearing only success stories is that we don't hear the failure. And if we only hear success, we're not going to know how to avoid failures. And that's how you can never avoid it, but that's how you fail less, is by learning from people who fail and how they failed. There are many guys who started multi-million-dollar businesses, and then they open up about all their failures and they explain what it takes to be successful. And a lot of them, I hear that they slept under store, for a year. They were getting paid minimum wage for 5 years, 10 years in business. 10 years in business. And then 20 years later, or 30 years later, they were a multi-millionaire. Imagine the doubt. And an example that I'm giving right here is from Andy Frisella. He's the guy that's been getting paid minimum wage monthly and living in his store for about 15 years, I believe. And imagine him being throughout those 15 years. Imagine all the doubts that he went through. Because 15 years is a long time. And there are a lot of reasons that I'm sure was given to him for him to give up, because he didn't think he would make it. But what did he do? He continued doing it, even with all the doubts. I'm sure he had. He says that he had doubts, but he continued growing the business. He didn't all of a sudden saw a successful person talking about what you got to do, what skills you got to have, and then start spending all the money all of a sudden because he got motivated and he got doubtful, and then he spend it all. You have to be careful with that. Not all investments, not everything that seems like is an investment is an actual good investment. Even if it's the money that you're applying back in your business and you're not buying bullshit stuff. Even that money that you're using to invest in your business, not all of that can be a good investment. It can actually be a bad one. So you have also to be careful. It doesn't mean that, I'm using this money for the business and not for myself. It doesn't mean that is you're doing a good thing. You're investing well. There's also good and bad investments. Because you think it's good doesn't mean it's actually good. And that's what you got to think about, guys. And this is more of a you got to come up. I think the biggest thing you take a lot of people, when they come back from the 10X Growth Conference, I believe that a lot of people come back motivated, excited, and thinking big, which is amazing. So do I. They wanted to have bigger goals and they want to take 10X actions. Hopefully, that last. Hopefully that last. And do it. Take those 10X actions. But be careful with self-doubt. You see all those successful people, and there were a lot of attendees in there. And maybe that also can create a doubt, because you think that, you're in a different place because you were watching and not in the front stage. But persistency, being smart counts a lot. And having doubts, everybody's going to have doubts. Everybody has doubts. Even the most successful people they were speaking, they had a lot of moments of doubts that they weren't doing, enough. You just didn't hear that much from that conference. But it's important that so that you don't use that and work against you using the 10X rule. Don't make it. Be careful, guys. I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from this podcast. Take those 10X actions. If you're going to call somebody right now, pick up the phone. Don't allow time to be on the way. Pick up the phone. If you're going to call 5 clients, call 50. If you're going to, whatever you got to do for the business, whatever. If you're thinking about opening another place in another location, start planning to open 10. But don't waste all your money doing so, because that can backfire.